Welcome, one and all, to a great week, a great month of international cricket for the Indian cricket team. Well, I'm talking about the Indian women cricket team. We had some amazing performances, two outright victories uh, by the women team. And today, to join us and celebrate the same, we have Bidhu, Tejas, and Suraj with us. So, Tejas, how do you feel given that the women performed really well? They scored some historic victories. What is your feeling about the same?
I think they've been making us proud for a long time now. I think we are not yet probably the world beating team that we all like to have, but I think we're almost there. We're doing some really good things in different formats. It's not just that one format we are doing well. We're doing well in all formats now. Now it's time to get everything together and then be that world beating side that Australia have been for the last decade or so, or at least
More than that, they have been there
Mhm.
more. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's no one other than Australia currently in the women's scene who are like utterly dominant, and I think India have all the tools to challenge them on every match basis. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Any standout performances which you really enjoyed?
There was many, I think, but I think one thing stands out is Deepthi Sharma, of course, against England. Um, yeah, the English were complaining that the pitch was turning. It was probably the most outrageous conditions that they have played with, but still, we have seen that whenever there's a bowler friendly pitch, it is not easy for the bowlers. They are expected to take wickets at that time, right?
Yeah, and DY Patil, the pitch is not that great actually, but it's not. But that was not the same concern in Wankhede. I think Wankhede was an amazing place.
It was amazing. Yeah.
It was a very evenly contested. Anyone, Suraj, did you watch that match? Suraj or Bidul? And did any of you?
Yeah, I actually wanted to drive from Pune to DY Patil. Anyways, it's midway and watch because the entry was free. But I mean, the English test match, right? Some of the things I want to call out. England team came with three spinners or two spinners. Charlie Dean, Sophie Eccleston. I think there was a third one. I could be wrong. Right. The kind of the way our spinners operated, of course, I mean it's home conditions. We can argue all of that, but I definitely think it was the batting which pretty much did the trick. Like the first innings, where India scored some 400 odd, against and England scoring 200 whatever. I think that was probably the trick, and they did the same thing against Australia as well. So it wasn't like a one-off thing, but I think they were able to repeat it.
But Australia showed more vigor than the English team. I think, like even on the final day, we were thinking that this might be very close. But thanks to the bowlers, they bowled really well, and thankfully, it was not much of a contest per se. Like India had an out and out outright victory. Uh, Pitu, given that the team is performing so well, uh, what are your expectations about the team going forward in the coming years? Are they are doing well in the test scenario? Your views about their future in say limited overs cricket, both T20 and the 50 overs?
I think they should just keep playing more because if you see the squads, unlike the men's squad, all the format, the players are largely the same. Almost 8, 9 players are the same players who are playing across all the formats.
Yeah.
Given that I think this is one of the initial stages of the test where they are playing outside of Mithali Raj and Julian Goswami, and this would give them a lot of encouragement, given that most of the youngsters are rising up to the occasion.
Yeah.
Tejas had mentioned Dipti Sharma, but I was closely following Pooja Vasrakar since last 2 years
Yeah,
because she is one of those all-rounders which men's team do not have, a pace bowling all-rounder, and she also chipped in with some crucial wickets. So I do notice her, and I think if I mean, Dipti Sharma is always there, and the rest of the batting are also quite young. So if Harmanpreet can stay around for 3-4 years, calm little bit down, I think we can cross the last hurdle as well with this crop of players.
Yeah, as long as she's there, the umpires will be feeling a little unsafe. But anyways,
I was just going to say, can we are we allowed to borrow, the men's team is allowed to borrow all rounders from the women's team? Because
not
it
not
seems
yet.
like Pooja Vastrakar is a bona fide all rounder. Bowls, bats. Even
Exceptional
today
fielder.
in the one day she played really well. Seems like Hardik is never fit, so we might as well bring in a Pooja Vastrakar and say, let's do a mixed team.
Okay, we'll talk about Hardik a little bit, but before I discuss Hardik and the fiasco that happened, I think we'll keep it for the end. But one thing I really enjoyed that I really loved the fact that women from the subcontinent, they really played well. The Pakistani women's team, the Bangladesh women's cricket team, they went down uh, and they performed really well. They won matches out there against strong sides in their home conditions, and that was something really impressive. So, Tejas, how does it feel to be part of a sub? I mean, it's like to see women flourish. So when India was good, India was always like for the past 8 to 10 years they have been pretty impressive. But in the last few years, we have been seeing both Pakistan and Bangladesh. They are also improving.
I think for cricket in general, subcontinent teams playing well is very important because of the viewership and the amount of passion that all of us have, right. So it really bodes well for the development of the game. We Of course, as goes good as the women's team and all the tournaments that have been happening recently, quality of cricket is good. One thing it still lacks is the viewership, and I think as subcontinent teams does play well, that will increase and pump in more money into the game, and that will only help in the betterment of the women's game. I think that is very important. I'm very happy that the subcontinent teams are playing well.
Yeah, but I think the subcontinent teams are playing really well, the women's team, but the same cannot be said about the men from the subcontinent. Pakistan, they have been performing, means like I have no words. It's abysmal to say the least. And then we have Indian cricket team, and they had a amazing test match. If you really enjoy longer weekends and had no plans about cricket and all, so I think they made your weekend really fruitful. You won't be wasting time in front of the camera, in front of the TV. Anyways, okay, we'll head straight to the most touted test series. India versus South Africa. India versus South Africa brings so many happy memories. Before we start criticizing the Indian cricket team, let's talk about some pleasant memories about India's tour to South Africa. So, Bidhu, do you have any favorite memory from India visiting South Africa early?
The top of my mind is you're talking only about tests, right?
A test, only test, yeah.
Yeah. So the Srishant spell in 2006, where India did not do well in the one day series, and all of a sudden in the test match, they did not bat well in the first innings. They just it was, I think, Ganguly's return to test. He scored a 40 odd runs and India reached some 200, and then Srishant came in and blew away the toss, South African top order, 6 wickets. So that would be my favorite move.
You remember that six and that dance he did?
I think, yeah.
Andrenel was the bowler.
Yes.
Yeah. And Suraj, do you have any beautiful memories? You are as old as me. You might have one, which I know is coming. It involves the coach.
No. I was about to say what Biddu said. I'm still thinking. Srishant has retired from international cricket, is it? Or he's still available for selection?
He's unfit. He's unfit to play.
What man? He's bowling in the Legends League now. He's still clocking 140 kilometers an hour.
Yes, cricket.
If
No, I'm
Gambhir
just
if Gambhir can play him, Dean Elgar can also play him.
yeah, but I'm just thinking, should he warrant a callback? No.
No.
Yeah,
Anyways,
not really, no.
no, I definitely enjoyed that one ball by Srishant, which was aimed at Carlos's throat, and Carlos jumped to fend it, and then it went to it was a catch. I think that is probably the defining visual for me from that test match. So India drew that series 1-1, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tejas, any pretty memory from
Right.
about my favorite? I think I only
Wait, once Tejas finishes, I'll come back. There's another memory I have, but yeah, Tejas.
Tejas.
Yeah, for me, I think yeah, again it is 2011. I think that was the New Year's test in Durban, if I'm not wrong. Lakshman scored a 96, and then we drew that series 1-1 as I think Oreo just said that. I think that was probably outside his 281. For me, it was one of his best innings. So
Okay.
that's my favorite.
We have a new panelist amongst.
Are
and
we supposed to be only on laptop?
No, nothing like that. So yeah, we are very happy to have you, Sandhya. Sandhya,
Hi.
Sandhya, so we are talking about our favorite memories of India visiting South Africa. Do you have any?
Is there any good memory of India and South Africa?
Yeah, there is, certainly there is.
Everything is tarnished by that last test match which we lose.
Yeah, but anyways, talk about one you have. It could be a sad memory also.
It's probably my favorite memory is that one where we, after getting thrashed in the first two test matches, and then we won the third test match on a very difficult pitch. That was probably my favorite match, even though I think two matches went really badly and we were really doubting this team. And then the third match on a very horrible pitch, which was just where the fast bowlers were bowling like spinners. And then we won that match. That was probably my favorite one. And I remember it because I was on a train when that match was going on, and we won. I think it was really difficult for me to follow the score. Um,
Yeah, it used to be really difficult because the trains would travel. You had to wait for a station to come. Then only the
yeah,
radio station,
exactly.
you could catch up the radio station. So
Right.
yes, Suraj, you have one memory which you wanted to talk about. Let's see.
Yeah, I think this was either 96 or 97, if I'm not wrong. So India versus South Africa Test Series. Alan Donald bowling like the way he bowls. I think it was a spicy Durban pitch, and the rest of the Indian team didn't do much. I mean, they were either in single digit or double digit. And Rahul Dravid was the only guy who stood tall and he scored a century. So that is one happy memory I have. And I think
Yes.
India scored what, 250 odd in first innings. I can't remember the exact numbers, but I only remember Dravid standing tall against in the middle of mayhem.
Yeah, that was also my favorite memory. Like to see him stand tall and play really well. I think he scored 140 odd runs in that match. And that gave us a lot of hope that there are good things to come to follow. And now we'll be moving, and we watched an
Wait, we should, now that Sandhya has joined, we should go back and ask her the Indian women question. All we meant reviewed the Indian women performance.
Okay,
Uh,
we'll do
yeah.
that. Okay, Sandhya, did you enjoy the Indian women's team, the men
Yeah,
did
I
as
did.
well?
Actually, I think I didn't even know the women were playing until I saw you guys discussing about it on the group. Then I started following the score. And I think I was just watching video clips on Twitter, and because it happened during work time. So, but it was really nice to see them win. And the fight back, they actually showed a lot more fight than the guys did in this match.
Yeah, men always disappoint. So,
Yeah.
and they've been doing it consistently. But one man who impressed during this test match was, of course, Dane Elgar. This is going to be his final series, and Tejas seems to be a fan of Dean Elgar. So, Tejas, what do you make up of that amazing 185 runs scored by Dean?
I'm generally a fan of left-handers, so Dean Elgar is not an exception. I think he sort of, you remember this era where it was all about grit and determination, and then taking blows to the body, uh, playing out a lot of deliveries and blunting the new ball. All these attributes, point to one guy called Dean Elgar. You do not find such an opener in this day and age, and he's retiring at the end of this series. So we may never see an opener of this kind, because the game is maybe evolving and moving forward. But that kind of technique where he nullified Indian bowlers in that first session when they when they came in, I think that was perfect, a way to play on that pitch. Given that, I know the pitch got a bit easier to bat on when they came in, but still Indian bowlers were playing really well, and then the kind of patience that he showed initially, and then in the second innings he cashed in when it became easier to bat. It's just classic test cricket, and you don't find these openers every now in every team, and it's just sad that he's leaving at the end of the tournament, but he's going out with the bang, so good for him.
Yeah, he's.
Hey, what is with all these South African batters, man? When there are notice period, they seem to give their best. Quinton de Kock in World Cup, Dean Elgar now in Tests. I want to be the CEO of this organization. Like, your employees perform the best when they're on notice period.
But what?
Faf du Plessis in the IPL.
Yeah.
He's coming back, so
But I mean, was he a notice period with the South African team, or he had retired by then?
and no, he's not gone. I think he'll be back for the T20 World Cup. Faf. Watch out
Really?
for that. Yes.
Really?
He'll be back.
Oh,
They didn't let AB come back.
No, he'll be back. He'll definitely be back.
Interesting. If okay, just disclaimer, if it happens, you heard it on this channel first.
Okay. Okay. Elgar played really well, and there was one more batsman who has faced a lot of criticism, especially a person from his own state, that gentleman being Venkatesh Prasad. But I guess Venkatesh Prasad would have no words now, because KL Rahul played an amazing innings. Bidhu, how would you like to describe the innings?
I think I'll just forget what happened in second innings, because till that point of time I was really happy with. One innings would not disappoint me that much. But see, KL Rahul is an interesting case because he doesn't warrant with his performance. He doesn't get into the playing 11, nor he can be left out. So if you see, he has some 800s, which and 7 of them outside India, which means he is a good test cricketer across conditions. But he has had around 40 tests, and out of which he is averaging 33, which means he has not made much use of the chances. And he is right now in the team because at least 3-4 players are not there. Prithvi Shaw was selected ahead of him. Mayank Agarwal was selected ahead of him. Pant is not there. Gill was supposed to wicket. Kishan was supposed to wicket keep, and he got injured. So things came. Luck favored him. But one thing what we have to really acknowledge is his flexibility. He's willing to open. He's willing to come at number 3. He's willing to play with the lower order. He's willing to keep wickets. So he is doing all that he can to sustain in the side. And apart from Kohli, I think he's the only one who plays across formats. And has done well in all the formats decently. So I think if India keeps on playing Test cricket after till 2030, he's 31, and if he can consolidate, I think we will get one more 3-format player after Kohli.
Okay, that's a nice observation. And the other people who actually impressed was the South African bowlers. Sandhya, your opinion about Rabadabadu? Did you really enjoy them?
yeah. As an Indian fan, no, I didn't enjoy it because I just kept thinking of how Prasidh Krishna and Shardul Thakur were bowling on this wicket. And that they went at an economy of 5 runs and over.
Yeah, means, but still, do you think, does Prasidh Krishna deserve that amount of criticism which he received? This being his first test, first away series,
Yeah.
uh, means like, do you think it was fair to select him or unfair to criticize him? What are your thoughts upon?
I do think that one thing they could have done that, okay, they're not going to consistently bowl wicket-taking deliveries, but at least they could have kept the economy rate within check. Put some pressure, at least allowed Bumrah or Siraj to apply some pressure. It was like the pressure was just going off whenever they bowled. Even Ashwin was bowling okay. At least he didn't go at, he was going at, say, I think some 2.5 runs and over. That was reasonable. So on that wicket for a spinner to bowl that much, I think that was reasonable. But these two were just letting the pressure go. Yeah, but it's their first match, and I don't think we had a practice match, so um, it's probably too much to criticize them at this point.
No, but
Rabada was out of the world. I think he just proved why he's the top 5 bowler right at present, along with Bumrah. So Bumrah was just unlucky today, but um,
But the problem with means India did not have practice matches, but Prasidh Krishna was part of the India A team where he took a hat trick actually, and made that drew a lot of attention given that Shami was injured at the last moment. So they reached out to Prasidh Krishna, and of course he did not have a great series up front, but I believe that. And he's also recovering from an injury. So I think probably there was too much expectations on him. The team could have looked at other options, but nonetheless, let's hope Prasidh Krishna gets more opportunities and then uh, make takes
Wait,
makes
wait,
most.
on
Yes.
this note, I want to ask, who are the other options?
Okay.
I've been trying to think about it. Who are the other options?
Avesh Khan.
Okay,
Mm,
one. Who else?
go back to Ishant Sharma or Umesh Yadav.
That's a question I had. Why? Why not? I mean, are they injured or they just are too old to be selected?
I think Umesh Yadav was there and they just went past him because of his age. I'm not sure about Jaydeep Unadkar because I remember I think in the last tour he was there with the team. He might have got, because every time he does something he posts a Twitter, so everybody knows that he is doing something. And I don't know why he is suddenly dropped.
Hey,
Because
wasn't he selected for the Bangladesh test?
Yeah.
He
He-
was, but he's not a great player. Means like he's amazing in the domestic series and all that, but I don't think so. He's a great bowler to be pursued, uh, and he has also got a lot of opportunities. So I really think it was nice on the part of the team management to give an opportunity to a younger bowler. I think other options, if we are looking at, there's a Mukesh Kumar. Everyone is rooting for him. He plays for Bengal. Then you have Arshdeep. Arshdeep, I believe he can also be given certain opportunities. And then this whole batch from Australia last year, they are all injured. You had Natarajan and yeah.
If
So
Saini was there, Saini, I mean, after the Australian series, Saini did not get a look in.
yeah, so I think they are all mostly injured. So that's the reason.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, because see, I mean, here's where I see the problem, right? When you see a Bumrah and a Siraj bowling, they're bowling 140 clicks, 140, 145. So, it's pace. And Arshdeep, even Prasidh Krishna, was looking at the speedometer, man, he's in mid 130s. I don't know if they will have to work on him like how they worked on Shami, and Shami now is in 140s. There was a point when he was like in mid 130s and all of that.
I think, I mean, maybe I'm a little wrong here, but for Indian pacers, when they go overseas, the outfield again matters a lot. I think the Centurion outfield, it has lush green outfield where it is not like hard low grass of an Indian stadium. In this lush green outfield, you probably can't run in as you generally can. Bumrah and Siraj, they are experienced, of course, playing around the world. But Prasid, I feel over there maybe that's where he lacked pace, because we've seen him clock 145 plus. Believe me, he's
He's
good
a
with this.
really fast
That's what even
bowler.
I thought.
Just stadium. It's just the the outfield. Probably he is not used to running in with such an outfield. Maybe it's just that. It's just that what I feel.
Because he's a really fast bowler. Like he bowls really well for
Yeah,
Karnataka. And
definitely.
I think the problem means like as Tejas pointed out, it might be the outfield, or I feel he's just returning from an injury. Means like it's still early days for him. But Bidhu, are you really disappointed by the way the Indian team just handed it over to on a platter to the South African team? Means, did you expect that it would be an innings defeat of all things?
I knew it would be a pretty a difficult task because look, I myself have not really enjoyed cricket that much. So this is the first time I'm after World Cup I'm watching a series a little bit with interest. So think about the players, like you are bringing the same old set of players who have worked so hard for the last 2 years and they did not get the result. So to pick themselves up after the first innings where South Africa really outbatted them, and construct an innings is going to take a huge mental temperament. And once Rohit Sharma got out, they just could not handle that pressure to just stay contain, construct an innings. I don't really like Dhoni has said, if you lose, you lose. Innings defeat doesn't really matter. You lose by an innings, you lose on the last day of the test. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, it's a two-test series, and the only interesting thing is you can draw, and I don't think that's the bigger motivation. I'm now afraid that they are going to lose the next match as well.
No, I wouldn't think so that they would be that demotivated. But that's an interesting answer that you think that they got bored of the entire, or they were so disappointed and so bored of what happened last month.
I think more than them being bored, I think they're tired, right? And they've been playing non-stop.
So
You
if
see,
they're so tired, why do you think it is fair on the part of the BCCI to uh, organize so many tours? Sandhya, would you like to have a go at it? I mean, do you think BCCI is being unfair to the boys?
I definitely think that if I was in their place, I would also be really disappointed after the World Cup. That last match. And yeah, as Vidhu said, it's the same thing. We all didn't feel like watching cricket for so many weeks after the World Cup. I can't even imagine how the players felt. So for them to come back into this match itself was a big deal. I do think that the BCCI would have taken their opinions into place, but of course there are commercial interests probably, and which wouldn't have allowed them to drop out. So these are kind of decisions should have been made beforehand, but yeah, it's they probably couldn't make this
A
call
great
before.
Sandhya. Speaking about commercial obligations, so the people who are really interested about India visiting their country is the South African Cricket Board, because once when India comes, there's a lot of money which comes.
Hmm.
The match gets a lot of advertisement revenue and all that.
Hmm.
So I think that is their part of getting a lot of money, making a lot of money, and investing
Yeah.
it back. So that is one good thing about
Which
India.
again,
But then again,
so that's an interesting point, which is why it did not make sense to me. Why would they make it two tests? South Africa
Hmm.
is three tests. That's
Yeah.
been the standard, right? I don't know if
Hmm.
so. I was surprised when this is just two tests.
Yeah, so
I
when actually when Arijit talked about BCCI, that's what I was hinting at. If like yes, you can like you cannot like change the WTC calendar, you cannot change the IPL, you cannot change the T20 World Cup. But if South Africa is that important a tour, you cannot have a two-test match series. You need to have at least
Yeah.
three, because India is trying really hard to win a test series in South Africa, and like India is a 50-50 starter in the opening test match. So just to snatch away that potential to win in just one innings is something BCCI could have avoided. I only remember we toured New Zealand for two test matches, but for rest, it is always 5 in England, 4 in Australia, 3 in South Africa. Now to curtail that 3-2 is something I'm really, I don't know why.
So I had read somewhere that within a month's time, like within 30 days, they had over like some 10 matches happening, everything included. So that's going to take a toll on these players. And I feel bad for the boys. I really feel bad, but they're giving their all. But again, next year a World Cup is coming, and I would like to see them fresh and all that because every time before a World Cup, these guys play a lot, and then whenever you are at the final stage, you just end up getting disappointed. So I think BCCI should be a little kind on the boys also. Anyways, looking forward, we are not that sad also. I always believe that we can bounce back. We did that about 4 years back. Yeah, we had a very pleasant memory. Uh, the Boxing Day test is underway in Australia. Pakistan, as always, I think they disappoint their fans more than our players disappoint Indians. But your opinion about okay, there's nothing to tell about how horrendous is the Pakistani cricket team. Tejas, I'll go with you.
No, I think if you had asked this question maybe yesterday or day before, I would have said they're probably the worst touring side ever.
But they are.
No. But from what I've seen today, and maybe in the first innings, at least from the second day of the Test match, right? Is at least they're putting up a fight. They're in the fight. They want to show that character today as well. If Abdullah Shafiq had taken the catch of Mitchell Marsh, if and only if they would have wrapped up Australia, within 150. And you never know, 200 at MCG, where batting is relatively easier than the other grounds. They could have actually won this Test match. They can still, of
Where
course,
was
but
where was Shafiq standing today when
first
he
slip, first slip.
and
He
he
dropped Warner first slip in the first innings. He dropped Marsh in the
Warner?
first
Warner,
slip again.
Warner and
Oh man,
Yeah, so I don't think so. That's fair. Actually, means like that's that's the most important fielding position in Test cricket, and you are dropping lollipops. Actually, of course, I'm not a great fielder myself, but
and to their credit, I think you've got to give people second chances. But once that was done, I think Salman Ali Agha, he came in at first slip and took a blinder to dismiss. Was it Marsh? I think yeah, it was Marsh.
but he did really bat well. That uh, uh,
Yeah, well, it is
means
what it
I
is. In Australia,
really
you
enjoyed
drop
the way
catches.
he was playing. I saw a few of those shots. He was
But fielders dropping catches and taking blinders is so Pakistan. There's nothing to like,
Yeah.
what is this?
Exactly.
It's a status quo. That's what they do.
The whole day was summarized. Abdullah Shafiq dropped what everyone calls it a dolly, and then Salman Ali Agha took a blinder, absolute blinder, to dismiss Marsh again. So that's just the Pakistan cricket in a nutshell, really put by. Yeah.
then
yes.
touching upon this speed of the fast bowlers, I didn't really watch the match fully, the Australia-Pakistan match, but something I did notice whenever I saw is that Pakistani bowlers aren't bowling that fast compared to the Australian bowlers. I mean, they used to be like high 140s, right? Now they're all in the late 130s now.
Yeah, they're in the Prasidh Krishna stage at the moment, but they will improve hopefully. Anyways, we have
I thought you said we're not supposed to troll Prasidh Krishna. Like, look at who's calling it Prasidh Krishna face.
No, he's comparing Prasidh Krishna with Shahid Afridi, so I mean, with Shaheen Afridi, so I think that's okay.
no, I see. I really look forward to young talents. They are the future of the sport, and I really expect them to do better. Means, and I find it a little uncomfortable when I see people dissing out young talents. Of course, they will take their time, they will shape up as players. But when you have young people who have impressed you, you also have certain veterans of the game, and you are going to see the end of the end of means at the end of it, you will be seeing one of the most lovable cricketers. He's quite a character. Sandhya, are you feeling sad that Warner is leaving?
Hmm. Yeah, actually, I don't know. Over the last few years, I think probably because of his stint with Sunrisers, he's been pretty. I mean, all the Indian fans have become kind of attached to him. We all identify with him. All the reels that he makes, his family makes, and so he's really become a part of the one of the cricketers that the Indian fan base actually likes. I remember maybe early 2010s or late 2000s when we never used to like Warner. He used to be he used to always get into tiffs, and then the whole sandpaper gate happened. But in spite of all that, because of his stint with the Sunrisers, he was pretty lovable for the Indian audience, I think, especially for the Hyderabad fan base.
Yeah, I think even people like he had a good bond. He had a great fan following in Delhi also. Tejas, any memories of uh,
Yeah.
Warner being loved in India? Like, yeah, I've always seen him. He been very lovable. He does not come out across like that Ricky Ponting era or that Steve Waugh era where people means like they would do all a lot of sledging. Probably he does, but then also he knows how to become friends very soon. Except with Joe Root, I think he's mostly admired by fellow cricketers and Mitchell Johnson in that list.
Yeah, I think that's actually, I mean, whatever you said is absolutely true. I think people who play against him and maybe if of his teammates might not like him, but as an entertainer, you cannot go beyond Warner, right? Be it his batting or his antics on the field, it is quite entertaining. Um, and you've got to give it to them. I think after Sehwag, a proper box office opening batsman, you can't look beyond David Warner. Having said that, he was past his best in Test cricket, and he has chosen wisely to retire in his home ground, and now he'll be focusing on probably his best format, that being one ODIs and T20s.
Oh, I just thought that you would be telling that he will be focusing on his new career in Tollywood. Suraj, do you see any possibility of that?
Yeah, why not? I mean, we never know, man. These days, movies have a lot of cameos, so watch out for him in Pushpa
I,
2. You
I,
never know.
I think I won't see him cameos. There will be a full-fledged movie.
Hey,
There will
wait,
be all
Pushpa 2
those.
hasn't released yet, is it?
No, no. I mean, it's still being shot, so you never know. They have a really good bond, Allu Arjun and David Warner, by the looks of it. So you cannot rule out anything
Yeah.
this day and age.
So, Suraj, would you take a bet that whether Warner will feature in that movie Pushpa 2?
Yeah, man. How else? Sunrisers need some money to after
But
the
he's not
splurging
part
they've
of
done on
Sunrisers
Pat
anymore.
Cummins. No.
He's not part of Sunrisers anymore. He's part of Delhi Capitals.
So what? Kavinaya will call him up and say, just for old time's sake, please come and act in this
They
Telugu movie.
blocked him. They blocked him. Why would anyone block David Warner? Bidhu, do you have any theory about this? Why did they block David Warner of all people?
They
And then they
blocked him
chased out
where?
Because David Warner cannot block. No, he is not a proper blocking. He plays
Ah, but
fast.
That's a good one. And on that note, it was a
That's a
really
really good one.
that was a really fun session we had today. Despite India winning, I hope they bounce back.
yes.
And if they do, we'll be really following it up in our next episode. And on that note, I would like to thank everyone who has attended today, who has come and been part of this podcast. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, good day, good night, good evening. Okay, ta-da.